An athlete at the peak of his career, acclaimed by crowds, with a brilliant future ahead, is forced to renounce his dreams, to abandon the tracks that once crowned him with glory. This is Vitor, a former sprinter whose life took an unexpected turn after a devastating injury. But Vitor's story does not end with his fall. It is only the beginning of a new journey, filled with challenges, twists, and a meeting that will change everything. Vitor's name once echoed through stadiums, synonymous with speed and victory. As a professional sprinter, he was a rising star, a force to be reckoned with on the track. His natural talent and relentless dedication had propelled him to the brink of national selection. The crowd's roar, the thrill of competition, and the intoxicating promise of glory fueled his every stride. But fate can be cruel. In the midst of his ascent, during a crucial qualifying race, disaster struck. A sharp pain, an awkward fall, and just like that, his dream was shattered. The diagnosis was severe, a career-ending injury that left him no choice but to walk away from the sport he loved. The physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional devastation. The track, once his kingdom, was now a place of lost dreams and what-ifs. Forced to resign from his athletic career, Vitor faced an identity crisis. Who was he without the races, without the medals, without the roar of the crowd? He spiraled into a period of deep reflection, grappling with his new reality. It was a time of darkness, where every day seemed to blur into the next, marked only by a pervasive sense of loss. But Vitor was not one to be defeated easily. Slowly, he began to rebuild his life, finding solace in the world of sports management. Leveraging his experience and connections, he carved out a new path as an agent for up-and-coming athletes. It was a way to stay connected to the sport, to nurture young talents and help them avoid the pitfalls he had faced. Yet, even as he found success in his new career, a part of him remained unfulfilled. The glory of his past lingered like a distant dream, a reminder of a life that could have been. He poured himself into his work, becoming known as a dedicated and effective agent. His athletes thrived, his reputation grew, but the void in his heart remained. And so, Vitor continued, balancing his professional achievements with a personal sense of incompletion. He was respected, even admired, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. It was a life of quiet discontent, until one fateful day, an encounter would set him on a path he never expected, towards a love that would change everything. Vitor's days were filled with the hustle and bustle of managing athletes' careers, a world so different from the one he once thrived in. He had settled into a routine, his passion for sports now channeled into nurturing new talents. But even with a busy schedule, the emptiness lingered, a constant reminder of what he had lost. One evening, after a long day of meetings and negotiations, Vitor decided to unwind by catching a movie at a small, local theater. The dim lights, the smell of popcorn, and the quiet murmur of the audience provided a welcome escape from his hectic life. As he settled into his seat, ready to lose himself in the film, fate intervened. Erica was there, sitting a few rows ahead. She was a young woman with a knack for words, a subtitle writer who had a way of bringing foreign films to life for local audiences. Her passion for cinema was evident in the way she watched, completely engrossed in the story unfolding on the screen. Vitor couldn't take his eyes off her, drawn to her presence like a moth to a flame. During a brief intermission, their paths crossed at the concession stand. It was one of those serendipitous moments that changed the course of one's life. Erica, fumbling with her wallet, accidentally dropped her keys. Vitor, ever the gentleman, bent down to pick them up. "Here you go," he said, handing them back with a warm smile. "Thank you," she replied, her eyes meeting his. There was a spark, an instant connection that neither could ignore. They struck up a conversation, discovering a shared love for films and storytelling. Vitor found himself opening up to her in a way he hadn't with anyone else. There was something about Erica, her genuine enthusiasm and warmth, that drew him in. For the first time in a long while, he felt a flicker of excitement, a hint of something more. As the movie resumed, Vitor couldn't concentrate on the screen. His mind kept drifting back to Erica, sitting just a few seats away. When the film ended, he found himself hoping to see her again, to continue the conversation that had begun so naturally. Outside the theater, under the glow of the streetlights, they exchanged numbers. Vitor felt a sense of anticipation he hadn't experienced in years. As he walked away, he couldn't help but smile, feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, this unexpected encounter was the beginning of something extraordinary. Vitor and Erica's initial meeting at the theater was just the beginning of what would soon become an integral part of their lives. They started texting, their conversations flowing with an ease that surprised them both. What began as casual exchanges about movies and favorite directors quickly deepened into discussions about dreams, fears, and past experiences. Their first official date was at a quaint cafe downtown, the kind with mismatched furniture and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Vitor arrived early, his heart pounding with nervous anticipation. When Erica walked in, her face lit up with a smile that melted his anxiety away. They talked for hours, losing track of time as the world outside faded into the background. Erica shared stories about her work as a subtitle writer, her love for languages, and her fascination with how films could bridge cultural gaps. Vitor listened intently, captivated not just by her words, but by her passion. In return, he opened up about his past as a professional athlete, the injury that ended his career, and his journey into sports management. It was a story he rarely told, but with Erica, it felt natural, almost therapeutic. As weeks turned into months, their bond grew stronger. They explored the city together, finding hidden gems and places they both thought they knew so well. From late-night walks along the waterfront to impromptu picnics in the park, every moment was filled with laughter and discovery. Vitor found himself smiling more, feeling lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. They supported each other's dreams, Erica attending Vitor's meetings and events, providing insights and encouragement. Vitor, in turn, became her biggest fan, sitting through foreign films he barely understood just to appreciate her work. He even started learning bits of the languages she worked with, much to her delight. One evening, as they sat on a rooftop, gazing at the stars, Erica turned to Vitor, her eyes shining. "You know, I've always believed that everything happens for a reason," she said softly. "Meeting you feels like one of those reasons." Vitor took her hand, a warmth spreading through him. "I feel the same way," he replied, his voice filled with sincerity. "You've brought so much joy back into my life. I can't imagine it without you now." Their connection was undeniable, a beautiful blend of shared interests and emotional support. They faced the world together, each day strengthening the bond that had begun with a simple act of kindness. For Vitor, Erica was not just a new chapter in his life, but a whole new story, filled with promise and love. Just as Vitor and Erica's relationship was blossoming into something beautiful, the shadows of Vitor's past began to creep back into his life. It started with a message from Sandra, his ex-girlfriend. She had been a significant part of his life during his athletic career, and their breakup had been messy. Sandra's jealousy and controlling nature had ultimately driven them apart, but it seemed she wasn't ready to let go. One evening, while Vitor and Erica were enjoying a quiet dinner at his apartment, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The message was from Sandra, requesting a meeting. She claimed she wanted to catch up and apologize for how things had ended. Vitor's heart sank as he read the message, knowing that her return could complicate the peaceful life he was building with Erica. "Who's texting you?" Erica asked, noticing the change in Vitor's expression. "It's Sandra," Vitor replied, his voice tinged with hesitation. "She wants to meet and talk about the past." Erica's face clouded with concern. "Are you going to meet her?" "I think I should," Vitor said after a moment's thought. "I need to make it clear that we've both moved on." The following day, Vitor met Sandra at a cafe. She was as striking as ever, but there was an edge to her demeanor that put Vitor on alert. They exchanged pleasantries, and Sandra began to recount her life since they had parted ways. As the conversation progressed, it became evident that she was not there to make amends. "I heard you've been seeing someone new," Sandra said, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Do you really think she's the right one for you?" Vitor felt a surge of protectiveness for Erica. "Yes, I do," he said firmly. "Erica is everything I've ever wanted." Sandra's expression hardened. "Well, I hope she knows what she's getting into. Your life is complicated. Vitor, are you sure she can handle it? Vitor's patience wore thin. Sandra, this meeting was a mistake. I moved on a long time ago, and you should too. Sandra's face twisted with anger. You think you can just walk away from everything we had? From everything I did for you? Vitor stood up, his decision clear. Goodbye, Sandra. I wish you the best, but my future is with Erica. As he walked away, Vitor felt a sense of relief, but also a lingering dread. Sandra was not one to let go easily, and her jealousy could cause more trouble than he anticipated. He knew he needed to tell Erica everything. That evening, Vitor sat down with Erica and explained the entire encounter. He spoke openly about his past with Sandra and her attempt to rekindle old flames. Erica listened, her face a mask of calm but her eyes betraying her worry. Do you think she'll leave us alone? Erica asked quietly. I don't know, Vitor admitted. But I promise you, Erica, I won't let her come between us. You mean too much to me. Erica reached out and took his hand, squeezing it reassuringly. We'll face this together, Vitor. Whatever happens, we'll get through it. Despite their resolve, Sandra's presence loomed like a dark cloud over their happiness. She began to insert herself into Vitor's professional life, showing up unannounced at events and meetings, stirring up gossip and speculation. It was clear she wanted to disrupt the stability Vitor had found with Erica. The strain began to show, and Vitor and Erica found themselves constantly looking over their shoulders, their once carefree relationship now shadowed by Sandra's interference. They had to navigate these murky waters carefully, ensuring that their bond remained unbroken despite the mounting pressure. In the face of these challenges, their love was tested, but it also grew stronger. They learned to communicate openly, to support each other through the doubts and fears. Vitor's past was a shadow that could not be ignored, but with Erica by his side, he was determined to move forward, leaving the darkness behind and embracing the light of their future together. The situation with Sandra quickly escalated from a nuisance to a full-blown conflict. Vitor and Erica's relationship, which had once been a source of joy and comfort, was now constantly under threat. Sandra's interference became more brazen and disruptive, testing the limits of their patience and resolve. One evening, after a long day of managing his clients, Vitor returned home to find Erica visibly upset. She had received a series of anonymous messages filled with veiled threats and insinuations about Vitor's past. It didn't take long for them to realize that Sandra was behind it. She's not going to stop, is she? Erica asked, her voice trembling with frustration and fear. Vitor pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. We'll get through this, Erica. Together. I won't let her tear us apart. Despite their united front, the pressure began to take its toll. Sandra's tactics grew more aggressive. She started showing up at Erica's workplace, spreading rumors about Vitor's past and insinuating that their relationship was doomed. Erica's co-workers began to gossip, and her work environment turned hostile. One day, Sandra went too far. She confronted Erica in a public setting, hoping to humiliate her and sow seeds of doubt about Vitor. It happened at a charity event where Erica was volunteering, and Vitor was there to support her. Sandra approached them with a smug expression. "Enjoying your time together?" she asked, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "I wonder how long this charade will last." Erica stepped forward, her eyes blazing with anger. "What do you want, Sandra? Why can't you just leave us alone?" Sandra laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "Oh, sweetie, you have no idea what you're getting into. Vitor has a past, one that's going to come back and bite you. Do you really think you can handle that?" Vitor stepped between them, his voice firm. "That's enough, Sandra. This stops now." Sandra's eyes narrowed. "Or what, Vitor? You'll leave her like you left me? You think you can just walk away from your past?" Vitor took a deep breath, trying to keep his composure. "My past is just that, the past. I'm moving forward with Erica, and there's nothing you can do to change that." Sandra's face twisted with rage. "We'll see about that." As she stormed off, Erica turned to Vitor, her resolve hardening. "We can't keep letting her do this to us. We need to take action." Determined to put an end to Sandra's harassment, Vitor and Erica decided to seek legal advice. They gathered evidence of her threats and interference, building a case against her. It was a difficult and stressful process, but they knew it was necessary to protect their relationship and their future. Throughout this ordeal, Vitor and Erica leaned on each other for support. They communicated openly, sharing their fears and frustrations. Their bond grew stronger as they faced this challenge head-on, united in their determination to overcome Sandra's malicious attempts to drive them apart. In a final confrontation, they met with Sandra in the presence of their legal representatives. Vitor spoke with a calm yet authoritative tone. "Sandra, this harassment ends now. We have taken legal action, and if you continue, there will be consequences." Sandra glared at them, her defiance faltering under the weight of their united front and the legal implications. "You think you can intimidate me?" Erica stepped forward, her voice steady. "This isn't about intimidation, Sandra. It's about protecting ourselves from your harassment. We won't let you ruin what we have." Realizing that she had lost the upper hand, Sandra's expression shifted from anger to defeat. She turned and walked away, her presence no longer a looming threat. With Sandra finally out of their lives, Vitor and Erica felt a wave of relief. The conflict had tested their relationship, but it had also solidified their commitment to each other. They had faced the darkness of Vitor's past and emerged stronger, ready to embrace their future together, free from the shadows that once threatened to tear them apart. With Sandra finally out of their lives, Vitor and Erica could breathe easier. The relentless harassment had taken a toll on them, but it had also brought them closer together. They had weathered the storm and emerged stronger, their bond fortified by the trials they had faced. Now, it was time to focus on their future and the love they had fought so hard to protect. Life slowly returned to normal, and Vitor and Erica found joy in the simple things. They spent lazy weekends exploring the city, trying out new restaurants, and discovering hidden gems in the most unexpected places. Their laughter, once dampened by stress, now filled the air with a renewed sense of freedom. One sunny afternoon, they decided to revisit the cafe where they had their first date. The familiar surroundings brought back a flood of memories, and they found themselves reminiscing about the journey they had been on together. As they sat at the same table, Erica looked into Vitor's eyes, seeing the man who had become her rock, her confidant, and her greatest love. "You know," she said softly, "I never imagined my life would take such a turn. Meeting you has been the best thing that ever happened to me." Vitor reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "And you've brought so much light into my life, Erica. I can't imagine my world without you." As they talked, it became clear that the future they both dreamed of was within their grasp. Vitor's career as an agent was thriving, and Erica was excelling in her work as a subtitle writer. They supported each other's ambitions and celebrated each other's successes, knowing that their love was the foundation on which everything else was built. One evening, Vitor planned a surprise for Erica. He took her to a beautiful park, where fairy lights twinkled in the trees and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. Under the starlit sky, he led her to a secluded spot near a serene lake. There, a small picnic was set up with all her favorite foods. Erica was touched by the effort Vitor had put into the evening. They enjoyed the meal, talking and laughing, feeling the magic of the night wrap around them. As the evening drew to a close, Vitor stood up, taking Erica's hands and pulling her to her feet. "There's something I need to ask you," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Erica's heart raced as she looked up at him. "What is it, Vitor?" He took a deep breath, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small box. As he opened it, revealing a sparkling ring, Erica gasped, tears springing to her eyes. "Erica, you've changed my life in ways I never thought possible. You've stood by me through the toughest times, and I want to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you've made me. Will you marry me?" Erica's tears flowed freely as she nodded, her voice choked with emotion. "Yes, Vitor. 1,000 times yes." Vitor slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced, their hearts beating in unison. The love that had grown between them, nurtured by trust, resilience, and unwavering support, had led them to this perfect moment. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, they knew that no obstacle could ever stand in the way of their love. They had found each other against all odds, and together, they were ready to face whatever the future held. Their journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been marked by incredible moments of joy and connection. Vitor and Erica had not only overcome the obstacles in their path, but had found a love that was deep, genuine, and enduring. They were more than ready to begin the next chapter of their lives, hand in hand, forever united by the bond they had forged. Under the starry sky, with the promise of a beautiful future ahead, Vitor and Erica sealed their love with a kiss, knowing that together they could conquer anything.